ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतानः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, in the last class we have completed the 39th shloka of Adhyaya 6. That is, Arjuna was asking a doubt about a person who fails to achieve the ultimate goal of that Dhyana Yoga. The ultimate goal of Dhyana Yoga is to attain Jnana. So that he has failed to achieve, not because of any failure, not because he fell a prey to any sensual desires or anything like that, but because of the physical inability, because of sudden death or something like that, because of some marana kale, that also we saw, because at the time of say death he falls into some delirium and then he cannot continue that dhyana practice. So in such a case, what will happen? So we are in the context of a yoga bhrashta, that is what is the word used. Yoga bhrashta means a person who is a sannyasi, who is in this dhyana yoga path. Dhyana yoga means in the path of nididhyasanam. Dhyana yoga is nothing but nididhyasanam only. Nididhyasanam, he is that Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana level, he is in that third stage. He is constantly doing that anusandhanam of the Vedanta sentences. So he is in that stage. So at that stage, say if he attains jnanam, then he becomes a jivan mukta. There is no question of his becoming a yoga bhrashta. Jivan mukta is a state which is achieved during the life only. Jnanam is something which gives result in this life only. So if this man dhyana yogi becomes a jnani, then there is no question of fall again. There is no question of fall. This man has not attained that level. He has not attained that jnana level, and in the process, for some sudden reason, he dies. So that was the context. So ayatihi shraddhayopetaha, that was the question also. Ayatihi, that means he has not done adequate effort. He has not put in adequate effort in that nididhyasana. But he is a man, he is a shraddhalu, shraddhayopetaha. He is a shraddhalu. He is a man who is highly devoted, who is having a proper attention and focus on that. But then he has not devoted adequate say time and then effort. So that was the picture of that man. So we are not talking about a jivan mukta who falls from that level. Jivan mukta, there is no fall. We are talking about a dhyana yogi who has not attained the final goal, and then in the process he dies. So then what will happen to him? According to our own general knowledge, so far we have seen Gita, we have read Gita. So what will happen to him? Dhyana yoga, what exactly is it? Is it a type of karma or not? Karma, you see, karma means doing all this yajna, yaga, etc. for personal benefit is karma. Karma yoga is doing all these prescribed karmas with an idea, with a different attitude. That is, with the idea of loka sangraha, with the idea that I am doing it as an order from the Lord. I am doing it for the samasti, for the collective good. So that is what is called karma yoga. Then from that karma yoga he attains some chitta shuddhi and then comes to this dhyana yoga level where he gives up all these karmas, but at the same time he is doing meditation also. He is doing this thing. So this dhyana yoga also is a type of karma. Till he becomes a jnani, whatever he does is a karma. Bhakti yoga is a karma. Dhyana yoga is a karma. Sannyasa, dhyana yoga means it includes sannyasa. Dhyana yoga, which is associated with sannyasa, that is also a karma. Karma yoga is a karma. Because we should not forget that first shloka from the third adhyaya. Lokesmin vividha nishtha pura proktamaya naga. There are only two nishtas. Two nishtas means two paths. One is a karma path and one is a jnana path. So karma means wherever you voluntarily do something, wherever your I is involved, wherever you are consciously doing in order to achieve something, that is karma. So karma, no doubt is karma. Karma yoga is also karma. Then again dhyana, this bhakti is again another type of karma. Dhyana yoga is also some type of karma, and this karma is bound to give you some result, isn't it? And what is the result it is going to give? So that is what Lord Krishna is now saying. If you do some bad karma, you will get some bad result. This man is on a highly, elevated plane, and from that plane he could not attain jnana. He could not attain jnana, and then his body dropped off. So then what will happen to him? Because when he becomes a jnani, then there is no question of punarjanma, which means all his so-called this subtle body, it melts into melts into the five elements. Where does the subtle body go? Of course, the physical body falls off. The subtle body, in the case of an ajnani, in the case of a non-realized person, the subtle body transmigrates. In the case of a jnani, the subtle body does not transmigrate. It disintegrates. It disintegrates and then merges with the five elements, five tanmatra, five bhutas. So that is what will happen to him. So this man, his subtle body is still there, so it has to transmigrate. Where will it go? So that is what Lord Krishna is saying in the next shloka. We are seeing Lord Krishna's reply. Let us read the shloka. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krut Kaschit Durgatim Tata Gacchati. So he says, Partha, hey Partha is the address. So the overall meaning is, this person who falls from this dhyana yoga, for no fault of his, he falls from, he is not as though it is, he falls a prey to all these sensual pleasures and all. It is for reasons beyond his control, he has not attained that jnana. Though he was in that path and he was Shraddha, with great sedulousness, he was following that path. Then what will happen to him? So he will never get any a bad result, either in this life, or either in this world or in the other world. This world means, in this world, what is the thing? You will again get a punarjanma. Getting a human birth is normal. Suppose you become a donkey or a pig or something like that, that is an inferior janma. So which means this man will never get an inferior janma in this loka. And then amutra, naiva, Partha, hey Partha, naiva means na plus eva becomes naiva. Naiva means never. Naiva, na plus eva. Eva is a sort of affirmation. Eva is affirmation. Naiva, never. So that is it. Naiva, iha, naiveha. That is, iha means in this world. In this world means after he dies, again in this world he has to take birth. So that sort of birth will be a noble birth. So that is what he is going to say. It will not be a mean birth, it will be a noble birth. Then naiva iha, na amutra. Amutra means in the paraloka. Amutra, iha and amutra, these two words we have to remember. Iha, amutra, phalabhoga, viraga, that word is very much there. Amutra means outside this world, that is either in heaven or in hell. So this man certainly is not going to hell because he is on a very good path. He has been on a very, very noble path. He is not certainly going to hell. So he may go to heaven or some such loka. So that is it. Partha naiva iha na amutra tasya vinashaha vidyate. Vinashaha tasya vidyate means tasya for that man. Vinashaha, some fall or downfall, let us say, downfall of that man. Na vidyate means it is never seen, it will not happen. Then na he means yasmat na kalyanakrut kaschit. Kaschit kalyanakrut, anybody who does any good deed. Kaschit means anybody. Kalyanakrut means somebody who does kalyana karyam, that is somebody who does some good deeds. Anybody who does some good deed, not a good deed either in a social context or in the path of spiritual progress. This man, of course, he has done all this, whatever has to be done in the social context he has done. And then he has graduated from that and then he has gone on to the spiritual quest. So in that path again he is doing that Vedanta Vakya Sravana Manana Nididhyasanam he has been doing. So this is again a Kalyana activity. That is something which is a very, very auspicious activity. That is a noble activity. So this man will not perish. He is not going to have any downfall. Nahi Kalyana Krut Kaschit Tata. Tata again is an address. Tata means, oh my dear son, oh my son, Durgatim na gacchati. Durgati means a bad result or a bad end. Bad end he will never get. He will never get a bad end. He will never get any bad result. So that is the meaning. This shloka is Partha na eva iha naiveha na amutra. Amutra means elsewhere. Vinashaha tasya vidyate na hi kalyanakrit kasyit durgatim tata gacchati. Hey Tata. Tata is again a sambodhanam. Partha is again a sambodhanam. Tata means, oh my son. That is, Tata, Shankaracharya is going to explain why Tata actually means father. Tata is actually means a father. Why he is calling him a Tata? Oh Nana, in Telugu we say Nana. Though Nana is referred to father, Nana actually means father. Your son also you call him Nana. So something like that he is going to explain. So let us see the Bhashyam. He Partha, Naiva ihaloke, na amutra parasminva loke, vinashaha tasya vidyate, nasti, nasho nama, purvasmat hina janma praptihi. So Nasha, what exactly is Nasha? Downfall. So suppose you are here in this office now. So downfall means some bad thing happens and then you may go to a much worse place or something something like that. Of course, not your case. I am just telling. So Vinasha is something you are on a particular plane, falling down from that plane to a lower plane is Vinasha. So here Nashaha nama purvasmat hina janma praptihi. Whatever janma he had earlier, in comparison with that janma, he gets a hina janma, a lower birth. So that is what is Nasha. So he says, hey Partha, oh my dear Partha. Partha is Prutha's son. That is Prutha's son is Partha. Then Naiva iha, not in this loka, na amutra parasmin loke. Parasmin loke means either in heaven, I mean you will not go to a bad loka, that is afterlife, that you will never go to hell or anything. Vinashaha tasya vidyate. That man said there is no question of any downfall for him. Nasti nasho nama, nasti. Then nasho nama purvasmad hina janma praptihi. Sa tasya yoga bhrashtasya nasti. Na hi yasmat kalyanakrut shubhakrut kasyit durgatim Kutsitam gatim. Hey Tata. Tata I will again come. Okay, sa tasya yoga bhrashtasya. For that yoga bhrashta, for that person who has suddenly who got disconnected from that yoga path, let us say, who just got disconnected from that yoga path for no fault of his, though he has been a Shraddhalu and all that. For such a man, tasya yoga bhrashtasya nasti nashaha. Then why na he means yasmat. Why kalyanakrut kasyit. Kalyanakrut means shubhakrut. Kalyana and shubha are one and the same. That is auspicious. One who does all good deeds, all auspicious deeds. So for such a man, durgatim kutsitam gatim, a crooked result or a bad result, he will never get such a bad result. Hey Tata. Tanoti atmanam putra rupena iti. Pita tata uchyate. So the actual meaning of tata is pita. Pita is father. Why? Tanoti, he goes to the etymological meaning. Tanoti atmanam putra rupena. Tanoti means vistarayati. Tanoti actually means vistarayati. He spreads himself in the form of his son. There is the literal meaning of tata is you are spreading yourself in the form of your children. So that is it. You are spreading yourself in the form of your children. Tanoti atmanam. Atmanam means one's own self. Tanoti vistarayati. He spreads it in the form of children. Putra rupena, in the form of a son. You understood it? Tanoti atmanam putra rupena iti pita tata uchyate. Pita is called tata. Then Pitaiva putraha iti. Putropi tata uchyate. So there is also a belief that the father again is born to you. Suppose the father dies and then again you get a son and then you think, oh, my father again is reborn. So that sort of say belief is there. So pitaiva putraha iti. So then actually pitaiva putraha is also interpreted in a different way, because atma vai putra namasi, there is one say good one line from one of these mantras, atma vai putra namasi, that is the self is born as the son. So similarly, when my father is born like me and I am again say born like my son, so my father is again equivalent to my son. So from that point of view, you can say you can call your son Tata. So that like we in Telugu exactly we call the same Nana. So pitaiva putaha putra iti putropi tata uchyate. The same father is born again as son, so that is why he is called Tata. Then why are you extending it to Shishya? Here Arjuna is not the son of Lord Krishna. Arjuna is only a Shishya. Then there is a saying, there are two types of Vamsha. One is by birth and one is by teaching. One is by birth, by your father, mother and your grandfather, that is the lineage. Then again by teaching, you are the student of so and so. Then I am student, say your teacher is the student of so and so. Suppose I consider myself the student of Pulal Ramachandrudu. So that Vamsha is there. Or Tattvavidananda. So that Vamsha is there. So I am a student of that gentleman, and that gentleman is a student of some other say Swamiji or some other Shastri, some Ramamurthy Shastri in Chennai. So that is that Vamsha, that Vidya Vamsha and Janma Vamsha. There are two Vamshas. Vamshodvedha Vidyaya Janmanacha. The sentence is like that. Vamshodvedha. Vamsha is of two types. Dvedha means two types. Vidyaya Janmanacha. Vidya Vamsha is different and Janma Vamsha is different. So you belong to two Vamshas. So that is what? That is why Shishyopi Putra Tulya Uchyate. Okay, Putra Tulya Uchyate. Stop. Shishyopi Putra Tulya Uchyate. Shishya, a student, is something like a son only. Because this teacher, just as the father spreads himself in the form of a son, the teacher also spreads himself in the form of a student. A teacher becomes a zero if there are no students, isn't it? Suppose there are no students reading Gita, then all the teachers, they are as good as dead. Yeah, sage Vyasa is as good as dead. If there is nobody reading Bhagavad Gita, nobody is teaching Bhagavad Gita, and nobody is reading, nobody is further trying to transmit that Gita. So that is it, isn't it? So that Vidya Vamsham is dead and gone. So that is it. So Shishyopi Putra iti Putra Tulya Uchyate. Yato na gacchati. So that is why yataha this man does not get any bad. Na gacchati means Durgatim na gacchati. Durgatim na gacchati. So this man does not get any bad, say he will not reach, he will not have any downfall. So that is it. Then Kintu asya bhavati. That is Kintu asya bhavati. On the other hand, Kintu means on the other hand, what will happen to this will happen to him. Asya bhavati means this will happen to him. What is that? Read the shloka. Prapya punyakrutam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam srimatam gehe yoga bhrashto bhijayate. Like, fine. Okay, this man, what will happen to him? We were talking about the subtle body. A jnani has no subtle body. Jnani's subtle body disintegrates and merges with the elements. Whereas this man is on the path of jnana and then he died, but still his subtle body is there. So he has to go and then take a new birth. So what will happen to him? Prapya punyakrutan lokan. So this man, he gets into punyakrutan lokan. Punyakrutan lokan prapya. The anvaya of this shloka is like this. Punyakrutan lokan prapya. That is, having attained the lokas or the places which are usually attained by people who do some great yajnas. People who do some great yajna like Ashwamedha or some other yaga, they will go reach some higher lokas. So this man, he will reach the same lokas which are attained by those people. Attained by the people who do some Ashwamedha or some other Rajasuya or some other Agnishtoma and all these yagas. So this man, by simple meditation, he will reach that stage. So that is what he says. Prapya punyakrutan lokan. Then there ushitva shashvatihi samaha. Shashvatihi samaha. Shashvatihi. That is many long years. Samaha means samvatsara. Sama means samvatsara. Shashvatihi means eternal. Because it is not eternal, nothing is eternal except Brahman, we have to say that many long years. Then Ushitva means having stayed there. Vasam krutva, Ushitva, having stayed for a long time. Then Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Bhrashtaha Abhijayate. This Yoga Bhrashta, this man who got disconnected from the yoga path, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Abhijayate. Shuchinam, number one is Shuchi. Those people who are having that Shuchi. Shaucham, in fact, in yesterday's class on what is that Kathopanishad, we discussed what exactly is Shaucham. That is Manashika Shaucham, Kayika Shaucham, and Vak Shaucham. Vak Shuddhi, Manashika Shuddhi, and then Sattva Antahkarana Shuddhi. So this three Karana Shuddhi, as we call it. So this Shuddhi I also explained elaborately. So this Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe. Shuchi, on one hand they are Shuchi, then again they are also Shriman, Shrimantaha. Shriman, Shrimantau, Shrimantaha. Shriman means one who is a wealthy man. Shriman, Shri Asti iti Shriman. Shrimantaha is the plural. Shrimatam is Shashti Bahuvachanam. Shashti Bahuvachanam is Shrimatam, which means of the people who are having that Shri, wealth, that is in the house of those wealthy people, this man, Yoga Bhrashtaha, Abhijayate, he takes birth. He is born or he takes birth in the houses of those very rich people, but at the same time not rich and corrupt people, but at the same time rich and pious people. So that is it. So something like King Janaka, King Rama, so who have been following Dharma, those who are in the Dharma tradition, who are very much settled in Dharma, and at the same time who are rich. So that is it. So Prapya, this shloka, is it clear?
Yes.
This Punyakrutan Lokan Prapya, having attained those nice lokas, which are usually attained by those who perform all these mighty yajnas, then having stayed there for long years, then again his rebirth will be not in any lower level, it will be in a very high level where he is born into a very pious and rich family. So that is it. So let us read the Bhashyam. Prapya iti.
Prapya iti.
Yogamargeshu pravruttaha.
Yogamargeshu pravruttaha.
Sannyasi samarthyat.
Sannyasi samarthyat.
Prapya gatva.
Prapya gatva.
Punyakrutam ashwamedhadi yajinam.
Punyakrutam ashwamedhadi yajinam.
Lokan. Tatra cha ushitva. Vasam anubhuya. Shashvatihi nityaha samaha. Samvatsaraha. Let us stop here because the line is still continuing. Asya prapya yogamargeshu pravruttaha sannyasi. Yogamargeshu pravruttaha. So pravruttaha yogamargeshu, that is one who is in that path of yoga. Then sannyasi samarthyat. Samarthyat means? No. That is why I asked samarthyat. Whenever we see the word, samarthyas means in the present context. Samarthyat is in the present context. Sannyasi samarthyat. That is in this present context. The context is we are talking about a sannyasi. We are talking about somebody who has graduated from Karma Yoga, who has accepted sannyasa, and then who is in the Dhyana Marga. So this man, sannyasi samarthyat, means though this word sannyasi is not mentioned, Shankaracharya is specifying. Shankaracharya, every time he defines what is the context, who is the person intended and what is being told for him. So for sannyasi, this is something which is the mukhya duty. Then for a grihastha, yoga marga is a gauna duty. We are also seeing and then we are also reading about this sannyasi. Why? Because we are also supposed to emulate them to some extent. So for us it is a gauna duty, for him it is a mukhya duty. So that is it. And then yoga margeshu pravruttaha, the one who is engaged in this yoga marga, sannyasi samarthyas. As per the context, as we see from the context, we are referring to a sannyasi and not to a grihastha or anybody, karma yogi. Then prapya gatva, that is having attained. Prapya means having attained what? Punyakrutam lokan. Punyakrutam ashwamedhadi yajinam. Punyakrutam, of the people who have done a lot of punyam. What sort of punyam is that? Ashwamedha Adi Yajinam. So, these yajnas, which are say comparable to this Ashwamedha, etc., that is, which are on par with that Ashwamedha. He is not doing some petty yajna, he is doing some mighty yajna. He is doing some mighty yajna like Ashwamedha and many other things on par with Ashwamedha. So a petty yajna will give some petty result. A Ashwamedha yajna will give long years of stay in heaven. So like that. So Ashwamedhadi yajinam lokan, he gets all those lokas, and tatracha ushitva. Ushitva means vasam anubhuya, having stayed there, having experienced, having lived there for a long time. Shashvatihi nityaha. Shashvatihi means eternal. Shashvata means actually eternal. Nitya, but actually nitya has to be taken in a rather figurative way. That is, there cannot be anything nitya apart from Brahman. So that is why for a long, long time, nityaha samaha samvatsaraha. Then tad bhogakshaye shuchinam yathokta shrimatam vibhutimatam gehe gruhe yoga bhrashtaha abhijayate. So having stayed there for a long, long time, then anything, whatever, however long you stay, you have to come back. So that is the beauty of karma. That is our limitation of karma. So you do Ashwamedha Yaga and then you stay for a long, long time. Then again the clock will be ticking, and then once the clock ticks, you have to come back. Then tad bhoga kshaya. So the clock has ticked. That is bhoga kshaya. That bhoga or enjoyment. Kshaya means that is over. It is completed. Then what happens? Shuchinam yathokta-karinam. Shuchi Shankaracharya is explaining. Yathokta-kari. Yatha ukta-kari. What is this yathokta-kari? Yathokta-kari means yatha uktam. Uktam means what has been told. Vachadhatu. Yathoktam means as told. Where? Told where? Told in the Veda. Told where means yathokta means told Veda. Told in the Vedas only. Told in the scriptures, let us say. As told in the scriptures, their conduct is according to the scriptures. Whatever are the Vedic injunctions, these are the people who are following the Vedic injunctions. So that is what it means. Yathoktakari. That is one who does as per the dictates or as per the mandate or as per the injunctions of the Shruti. So that is it. So yathokta-karinam. Then Srimatam, Vibhutimatam. That is Vibhuti. Vibhuti means a lot of wealth. Vibhuti is actually, Vibhuti does not mean this Vibhuti which we apply on our forehead. Vibhuti also, there is a meaning for that also. That Vibhuti, Visheshena. Vi means Visheshena. Bhu. Bhu dhatu means to be. That is manifesting in different ways is called Vibhuti. We are going to see one chapter, the whole chapter called Vibhuti Yogam, which shows different manifestations of the Supreme Brahman. That is Vibhuti, Brahma's manifestation. So here Vibhuti means you whatever you want, it is there in his house. You want a fridge, it is there. You want some TV, it is there. You want some BMW, it is there. You want something else, it is there. All things are there. Visheshena, Vibhuti Matam. Sri Matam is Vibhuti Matam. That is, you are born with a silver spoon or something like a golden spoon, let us say. In why silver spoon, gold spoon, let us say. So you are born with a gold spoon. So Srimatam Vibhuti Matam Gehe Gruhe Yoga Bhrashtaha Abhijayate. So this gentleman, he takes birth in very rich and pious people's house. Then Atha iti. So then, or else, there is again another alternative also. What is this? Let us read this shloka. Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam yetadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrusham. Okay, he says, Athava, or else. So there is one option is you are born in a rich and pious family. Then Athava yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam. Dhimatam. Dhimatam means Buddhimatam. Buddhimatam. Dhiman. Dhiman is a very important word in Veda. Dhiman, Dhiraha is Dhiyam Rati iti Dhiraha. One who has got a lot of, one who has control on his Indriyas and mind. That is what is called Dhira. So here we are talking about say Dhimatam, Buddhimatam. These people who are already in that path of say Manana and Nididhyasana. So the earlier thing is a rich and pious family. So rich and pious family is okay, but then they may not be in that yoga path. But here you are talking about somebody who is in that dhimata, who is in that yoga path. He is not a dhanavan, Shriman, but he is a dhiman. So the earlier shloka talked about a Shriman. This shloka is talking about a dhiman. There Shrimatam Gehe, here Dhimatam Gehe. So these two things you please see. Shrimatam Gehe is one, Dhimatam Gehe is another. So that is it. Athava Yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. Yoginam eva. Actually he is born into that itself. So Yoginam eva, that itself. So the very tone indicates that this is something greater. This is something superior to what was told earlier. Yoginam eva kule bhavati. In the same, in that kulam, in that say group itself he is born. In that group itself he is born. What does it mean? It means the very tone indicates that this is something which is superior. So, athava or else, yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam. Dhimatam yoginam. So, these earlier people is a Shrimatam, here dhimatam. So, yoginam, that is dhyana yoginam. Those who are already in this path, the moment he is born, his father already is doing this dhyana yoga, his grandfather has done this dhyana yoga, and then he has become a jnani. So he is in the born in the house of, in the line of those scientists, something like being born as a scientist's son and then again becoming a scientist. So like that. Yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etat hi durlabhataram. This he means yasmat, etat plus he yasmat, etat durlabhataram. Durlabhataram means more difficult. This tara means is a comparative degree. Durlabham, Durlabhataram, Durlabhatamam. Tama is superlative. Durlabha is positive. Durlabhatara is comparative. Durlabhatama is superlative. So this is Durlabhataram means in comparison to what was told earlier, this is more difficult. Durlabhataram loke janma yat idrusham. Idrusham janma. Idrusham means this type of janma is actually more difficult than what was told earlier. So he will be born into this yogi's house itself. So that means the ultimate aim is to become a jnani. The ultimate aim is not to enjoy wealth. So if he is born into a rich man's family, there are so many diversions. There are so many obstacles to his path. There are so many obstacles in his dhyana. After all, he has to again get hold of some sannyasi. He has to get hold of some guru, and he has to again get into this path, because there are so many lures and attractions and obstacles in the house of a rich man. So all those attractions and riches are not there in the house of a poor man. So being born in the house of a poor man and a jnani, not a poor and stupid fellow, he is a poor man but a jnani. So he is born in the house of a jnani. So he immediately can take off on the jnana path and he can attain that final goal called liberation. And in fact, one commentator has added one point, that is, if you are born in the say house of a poor man, your whatever purva papam gets exhausted. Even if there were to be some purva papam, after all, this man, he is in this yoga path, till this man attains that say jnana, maybe some little bit of purva papa also may be there. So if he is born in this poor family, by undergoing all these difficulties which are associated with poverty, all that old say papam is exhausted. All the old papam is exhausted, and then this also facilitates his sadhana. A very poor man's house actually facilitates the sadhana. Then if we, on the other hand, if it is a rich life, only the purva punyam will get exhausted. Somebody, he has done some purva punyam, so the purva punyam will get exhausted, and on the other hand there will be so many obstacles here, and then there is no conducive atmosphere for dhyana. So a poor man's house is a conducive atmosphere for dhyana and liberation. You see how, say we are now talking about these people, we are talking about these people who are on the jnana path, how our people, they embraced poverty, they welcomed poverty, and then they also saw some virtues in poverty. They did not become communists and then they did not become Maoists or anything like that. But on the other hand, they tried to gain knowledge while being poor. That is why if you go back and see your own forefathers, and you will see that they might have been poor, but then they had a lot of self-esteem, they had a lot of self-respect, they lived, say, very, very perfect lives, more perfect lives than we are leading. And then many cases, I am telling about many cases, not some stray cases. Many cases they were poor, but at the same time they were highly erudite, they were highly learned. So this is what we see in our tradition. So these people, they voluntarily embraced poverty, and then they saw the virtues in poverty. So daridra. So let us see the bhashyam. Is the shloka clear?
Yes.
Then okay. Athava
अथवा
Srimatam kulad anyasmin
श्रीमतां कुलात् अन्यस्मिन्
yoginameva daridranam kule
योगिनामेव दरिद्राणां कुले
bhavati jayate
भवति जायते
dhimatam buddhimatam.
धीमतां बुद्धिमताम्.
Okay. Athava, or else Srimatam kulad anyasmin. With that which is other than that Srimatam, other than the, say, rich people, that is poor people. In that kula, yoginameva daridranam. Yoginameva, in the house of yogi itself, in the house of a yogi itself he is born. Yoginameva daridranam. Daridram is a poor man, poor people. Daridranam kule bhavati jayate. He takes birth. Dhimatam buddhimatam. So dhimatam is buddhimatam, those who are in this yoga path. Then etadhi janma
एतत् हि जन्म
yat daridranam yoginam kule
यत् दरिद्राणां योगिनां कुले
durlabhataram
दुर्लभतरं
dukkena labhyataram.
दुःखेन लभ्यतरं
What does your book says?
दुःखलभ्यतरम्.
Okay, it is okay. Dukkena labhyataram purvam apekshya
पूर्वमपेक्ष
loke janma
लोके जन्म
yad idrusham
यदीदृशं
yathokta visheshane kule.
यथोक्तविशेषणे कुले.
Okay, etadhi janma, this particular janma, this type of janma, yat daridranam yoginam kule. So though these people are daridras, these people are very poor, totally poor and not impoverished, poor, then daridra yoginam. So but these people are yogis, they are settled in the dhyana yoga. Then this is something which is durlabhataram, which is more difficult. Dukkhena labhyataram. Dukkhena means with great difficulty you will attain this type of janma. With great difficulty you are born to a saintly man. That is it. Basically, if your father is a saintly man, it means that you have done a lot of punya and then you are born as a son to that saintly man. So that is what it implies. He may be a poor man, but he is a saintly man. So dukkhena labhyataram purvam apekshya. Purvam apekshya means in comparison with what was told earlier, in comparison with that Srimatam gehe. Purvam apekshya loke janma yad idrusham. This type of janma yathokta visheshane kule. This type of kulam, which is characterized by this type of dhyanam and then yoga, and a kulam which is characterized like this, it is very difficult to get that type of birth. Then yasmat, that is because, yasmat means because, what will happen to him? Then let us read the shloka. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhuyah samsiddhau kurunandana. So here what will happen to him when he is born in that poor family and yoginam family, in the family of yogis, in the family of jnanis he is born. So what will happen to him? Tatra tam, that particular person, tam is in dvitiya vibhakti, tam buddhi samyogam labhate. He gets that buddhi samyogam labhate. He gets that buddhi samyogam. Buddhi samyogam means, then again it is something like a recapitulation. So yes, yesterday you have heard something, today you come to the class and then again you are recapitulating what you learnt yesterday. So in the Purva Janma he has gone up to a particular level. Then he is again not starting from ABC, he will again start from where he left in the Purva Janma. That is just recapitulating what the place where he was in that Purva Janma, and then he will move on to the next level. He will not start from a lower level, he will start from the same level and move on to the higher level. That is Buddhi Sanyogam. That particular level which he had attained earlier, he gets associated with it immediately. Tam buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. Paurvadehikam means that which is belonging to the purva body. Purva deha. Paurvadehikam is etadhita pratyaya. That is that which belongs to the purva deha is paurvadehikam. That paurvadehikam buddhi sanyogam tam labhate. He attains that association with that buddhi which was there in that earlier body. Then from there what will he do? Yatateja tato bhuyah. From there he starts that from that earlier level. Not from a zero level, but whatever was the earlier level. Yatate means again he again starts say this dhyana yoga. Tataha means from that level, from that position. Bhuyah means again. Bhuya means again. Samsiddhau means samsiddhi. What is the samsiddhi or attainment in the yoga marga? Jnana or moksha. Samsiddhau yatate means he aspires or he works for, he strives for that samsiddhi, for that jnanam. He Kurunandana is the address. Samsiddhi means moksha or jnanam. So he tries from that original level. He starts from that original level and moves forward towards moksha. So that is so what is implied here is that role of samskara. Actually, whatever we do in this life, so it leaves some samskara even on the subtle body. So the subtle body does not mean not only this the body falls off, this mind complex, let us say this mind complex plus pranas, 5 pranas. Not only that, it also carries our luggage of papam punyam. It carries the luggage of all our vasanas. Vasanas means samskara or vasana. What is this? You have been doing a particular type of activity all through your life. So that has resulted in some latent impressions on the say antahkarana. So those latent impressions, with the help of those latent impressions or vasanas or samskaras, you react to new things. Suppose you are reading Gita every day. So this thing has created some impressions on you. So as a good man, you will try to help somebody who is there on the roadside. On the other hand, if you read a lot of hate literature every day, suppose I keep on teaching some hate literature, then you will try to go and try to do some harm to somebody. So this is some samskara. Samskara is the indelible impression which is created on the mind. These indelible impressions are also carried along with the subtle body. So the role of samskara is mentioned here in this shloka. Okay. Then let us read the bhashyam. Is the shloka clear? Then tatra yoginam kule tam buddhi sanyogam buddhya sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam purvasmin dehe bhavam paurvadehikam. So here tatra means there means after attaining that new janma, yoginam kule, in the family of that yogis, tam buddhi sanyogam. Buddhi sanyoga, what is buddhi sanyoga? Buddhya sanyoga. That is, he again regains, he recalls whatever was there, he recalls. And then buddhi sanyogam labhate paurvadehikam. That is, purvasmin dehe bhavam. Whatever was there in the purvasmin dehe, in the earlier body, whatever was there, he attains that particular buddhi, and then that is called paurvadehikam. Then yatatecha yatnam karoti tataha tasmat purvakrutat samskarat bhuyah bahutaram samsiddhau samsiddhi nimittam he kurunandana. Okay, then he kurunandana, O son of this Kuru. Then yatatecha, yatnam karoti. In the previous life also he was in that process of nididhyasana. He will continue the same nididhyasana. So this man will continue that nididhyasana, yatnam karoti, tataha tasmat. Tasmat means from that earlier level only. Then purvakrutat samskarat is also clarifying. Purvakrutat samskarat, because of those previous impressions, because of the previous whatever predispositions or vasanas or samskaras, because of these samskaras, Purvakruta samskarat bhuyah. Bhuyah means bahutaram. Bahutaram means in a plentiful way. Again, bhuya again, it also means again. Bhuyah bahutaram. In a very bahutaram, what to say? In a very plentiful way, let us say. In a very plentiful way. Bahutaram. Samsiddhau. Samsiddhi nimittam. Samsiddhi means moksha. Samsiddhi actually means moksha, that final attainment. What is that final attainment? Is jnanam or moksha. In that, he attempts. Samsiddhi nimittam, he kurunandana. He strives for that ultimate result called jnana. So, that is the thing. In fact, some of the teachers, one teacher has given an example here of Gajendra Moksham. If you have seen, you know the story of Gajendra Moksham in Mahabhagavatam, that 8th skandha, the story of Gajendra is there. What is the meaning of Gajendra? Gajam is something which feels itself very mighty, proud, and that aham. Gajam is that aham. Gajendra means somebody, a man in the world with a lot of mighty ego. A person with a mighty ego is that aham. Then Gajendra is caught in that lake called samsara. And then what is it that is catching it? That is a huge crocodile. That crocodile, whatever is scratching it, that is what catching or grabbing it. Grabbing is, what does it mean? Mama, mama, mama. So this Gajendra represents this ahankara. That mamakara is actually grabbing him. Mamakara, mama is mine, mine, mine. So he is in that mire of the world, mire of samsara. And then this man is grabbed by that, say this Mosali or that, crocodile, which is called mamakara. So this ahankara and mamakara combination is there, and he is not able to get out of that thing. But luckily for him, there is a Purvajanma Smriti. In the Purvajanma, he was a great, say, Vishnu Bhakta. So he was a king named Indradyumna. And then he was only doing some Saguna Bhakti. He was worshipping Vishnu as a Saguna form only. And it so happened that once sage Agastya goes and then sees his plight, and on the pretext of a shapa, he gives some sort of shapa to him to become an elephant. And then with that shapa, this man becomes an elephant. Then shapa was basically to enable this man to get to the level of Nirguna level. So this the Gajendra, he starts worshipping, he starts realizing that Nirguna Brahman. At that level, in that mire of samsara, when he is struggling with this mamakara and whatnot, he recalls Srihari, and then he thinks of the formless nature of that Srihari, and then he goes to that Nirguna level, and at that level he is liberated. So that is the story which is told by one teacher in this particular context, that is regarding this Purvajanma Samskara, the way how Samskara helps a person to attain a higher level. So this Gajendra Moksha and all these stories are totally symbolic. It is not as though some child's story where this elephant is caught by, say, some crocodile, and then this elephant, the elephant immediately cries out, and then Lord comes and then sends a chakram. So this is not a child's story, because if you read the Bhashyam, read the commentary, and also the Purvajanma story, which is also explained in the text. In all these texts, the Purvajanma story also is explained. That is, why it so happened, what was his Purvajanma, and why this man behaved in this manner. So all these things are explained. If you see all that, the symbolism becomes very, very clear. So here the point is about the role of this samskara, or the vasanas which are helpful for the person who is in this dhyana path. Samsiddhi nimittam he kurunandana. Okay. Katham bhutah purvadeha buddhi sanyogah iti taduchyate. Katham bhutah means what type it is. Katham bhutah purvadeha buddhi sanyogah iti. This sort of association with this purvajanma buddhi, this sort of recapitulating that the buddhi level which was there in the purvajanma, what type of it is that? Iti taduchyate, that is being told. Then let us see. Purvabhyasena tenaiva
पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव
ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः
क्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः
जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य
जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य
शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते.
शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते.
So he says, Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hyavashopi saha. So this Purvabhyasa has been there. Purvabhyasa means Purva Krutaha Abhyasaha. Whatever Abhyasa or practice he had done earlier, that is Purvabhyasa. By that Purvabhyasa, then Hriyate. Hriyate means he gets pulled, he gets attracted, he gets dragged. Avashopi. Avashaha api. That is in spite of himself. Though he doesn't want, he gets dragged by that Purvabhyasa, he gets dragged by that. Luckily for him, he sees some book on some yoga, he sees some book on Gita or some Bhagavad Gita book or something like that. Then he gets attracted by that. So that is what is the case. So, Purvabhyasena, Tena plus Eva, Tenaiva, Hriyate, he plus Avashaha, Api, Saha. Saha, that person who takes birth in that yogi's family, is the mic there?
Yeah,
So that man who takes birth in the family of yogis, by virtue or by strength of this Purvabhyasa, by the strength of this previous effort or exercise which he has done over a long time, he gets pulled in that direction, he gets dragged in that direction. And Jignasurapi Yogasya, even if he shows a little bit of Jignasa, so number one, he gets attracted even without effort. And if he shows some little bit of Jignasa, it will give immediate result. Jignasurapi Yogasya, Api, this word Api is important, you see. Yogasya Jignasuhu Api. Api means even if he shows some little bit of Jignasa, then Shabda Brahmati Vartate. Shabda Brahma, the meaning is, Shabda means Veda. Shabda means Veda. Shabda Brahma, that is whatever has been told in the form of Karma Kanda. Veda is equated to Brahma, isn't it? Veda is equated to Brahma. Shabda Brahmati Vartate means that whatever is told as the Karma Kanda, he goes beyond this Karma Kanda. He is not born in the house of Karmathas. He is born in the house of yogis. So what happens to him? So he, Shabda Brahma Ativartate, he immediately goes beyond this karma level, goes beyond the karma level and attains the dhyana level. So that is what it is. So the shloka is Tenaiva Purvabhyasena, by the very same Purvabhyasa, Avashaha Api, in spite of himself, Hriyate Saha Hriyate, he gets dragged. Then Yogasya Jignasuhu Api. Even if you show a little bit of interest in the yoga, then he Shabda Brahma Ativartate. Ativartate means he goes beyond. He goes beyond or goes beyond that level of karma yoga. Is the shloka clear? Let us read this. Yaha purvasmin janmani kruto abhyasaha.
Yaha purvasmin janmani
Kruto abhyasaha. Sa purvabhyasaha. Tenaiva balavata. Hriyate hi yasmad avashopi sa yoga bhrashtaha. So we are talking of this yoga bhrashta, sa yoga bhrashtaha. What is this saha? Saha means that person who got disconnected from that yoga path. Then purvasmin janmani krutaha abhyasaha purvabhyasaha. That abhyasa or whatever practice he has done in the earlier life is called purvabhyasa. Tenaiva balavata, that thing itself is quite strong. Balavata tena, that means by that strong one, by that strong vasana, by that strong samskara, then he, yasmat, because avashaha api, avashaha, that is in spite of himself, avashaha, though he doesn't want, he has not seriously thought of it, but then his predisposition is towards that. He is moving towards that only, predisposition. Saha yoga bhrashtaha. That man, he gets pulled in that direction. Na krutam chet yoga abhyasa samskarat balavattaram adharmadi lakshanam karma tada yoga janitena samskarena ahriyate. So there is some little bit of doubt here. some possibility, some possibility of something happening, other happening also is there. So Shankaracharya is imagining a hypothetical situation where na kurtam chet yogabhyasa samskarat balavattaram adharmadi lakshanam karma. So he has been doing some yogabhyasa, and suppose prior to that he has done a lot of sins. So before getting on to that, he has done lot many sins. So that is also there, isn't it? After all, he becomes a jnani only, then all things get destroyed. He has not become a jnani. He has some negative factors behind. So that negative factors, if they are very, very strong, and then if they are stronger than this yoga abhyasa, then he may not get attracted in this yoga path. If the yoga abhyasa balam is strong, and those whatever negative factors are there, if they are not so strong, then he gets dragged in this direction. So there are two types of forces pulling. One is yoga abhyasa balam, and one is that negative factors. If the negative factors are strong, they will first pull in that direction. Then their result will be first. If the yoga abhyasa balam is strong, so this will drag him in this direction. So that is what it is. Na kurtam chet yogabhyasa samskarat balavattaram adharmadi lakshanam karma. If he has not done any adharmadi lakshanam karma earlier, if he has not done any adharma adi, that means including dharma also. In fact, one commentator has said adharmadi means it includes dharma also, because even if you have a lot of punyam, that punyam also will give you some result. Then adharmam, papam also will give you result. So one commentator has said, you let us include punyam also. So adharmadi lakshanam karma. If there is a lot of negative, let us say only even if you take literally, if this man has not done any bad deeds, na kurtam chet means if he has not done anything, adharmadi lakshanam karma balavattaram means which is stronger than this yoga abhyasa, then tada yogabhyasa janitena samskarena ahriyate. So in such case, yogabhyasa balam is stronger, so it pulls him in this direction. Then adharmasched balavattaraha krutaha
adharmasched balavattaraha krutaha
tena yogajopi samskaraha abhibhuyate eva. So if that adharma is balavattaram, if that adharma is strong, if that backlog of this adharma, the evil deeds, if that is very, very strong, then that will defeat even this yoga abhyasa balam. So you have been a sinner all through, and then suddenly you start doing some yoga abhyasa, and suddenly that man has died. So in that case, this sin or whatever bad deeds are there, they are still there. And then they will start giving result first. They will defeat this yoga abhyasa janita balam. This yoga abhyasa balam, they will be able to defeat. So you see this adharmasched balavattaraha, that is adharmaha balavattaraha chet. If adharma is stronger, then tena yogajaha api samskaraha abhibhuyate. This samskara which is born out of this yoga, it gets defeated. Abhibhuyate means it gets defeated. That is it. Then abhibhuyate eva. Tat kshayetu yogajah samskarah swayameva karyamaarabhate na dirghakalasthasyapi vinashah tasya asti ityarthah. So that tat kshayetu. So this purvajanma, that evil deeds, they defeat this yogaja samskara, and then they will start giving result. But then that will also end at some point of time. That bad deeds, they start giving result, and then that ends at a point of time. After that thing bad, the result of the bad deeds are all over, then this yogaja samskara, this samskara as a result of this dhyana yoga, it starts giving result. So even though it is dormant for a long time, it may lie dormant for a long time, but still it will not perish. In that dormant state, it will be only dormant, but it will not perish. So that will again start giving samskara. It will start giving the positive result. So that is the meaning. We will see in the next class. We will read this line again in the next class. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति।